welcome to Black History Month Centre of Excellence celebration of 50 years of the Somali language. Massive round of applause for all of you for coming.
Today is a very important day. Is the October, the Black History Month, and we wanted to celebrate that for sure. But what's also interesting is that it's the 50th anniversary of the Somali language being officially protected at a global level as a written language, and that itself, I'm 46. And learning about that was fascinating, and I thought, right, we need to celebrate Black History Month, but celebrate it in context in which tells our story, because we all have a story. As much as we are united front, we also have a unique individuality and unique history and journey that we want to celebrate, especially for our young ones. I want to emphasize on the fact that we were somebody with a history before we became a migrant, a refugee, or political asylum seeker, whatever the status that is, because we've got to be able to know the past to celebrate the future or to shape the future, because we have individuals who don't speak our language, who are now retired, who are now born here. We've got individuals who are retiring here. So how do you connect the two? By telling our story and making sure that every story matters.
But actually, one thing that people don't realize as young Somalis is that we didn't come just 20, 30 years ago when the Civil War broke out. Actually, Somalis came here during the British colonial era, very early in the 19th century. So Somalis have had roots in Britain for a very long time. But we don't know much about our own history. So I'm really hoping that at this event, but also you continue to ask questions and learn about our own British Somali heritage and history.
So I'm here today supporting the Centre of Excellence. It's my first event actually physically attending, but I've been a long-time supporter since they've launched. And I think they do really important work in the community. So today we're celebrating Black History Month, but actually through a Somali lens, which is incredible and exciting. And it's not something we see very often. I think Somalis in general forget actually the history that we have in Britain and actually kind of neglect our own history. So it's a really exciting time to be able to discuss our Somali history and actually empower young people to be a part of, first of all, storytelling and rewriting their own stories and sharing stories with their grandparents. So and specifically we'll be talking about the Somali language, which is exciting for me because even though I do speak the Somali language, it's not a language that I'm fluent in and I'm confident in. But it is the language that I was taught first. It's the language that my grandmother made sure I learned, from a very early age. But it isn't my strongest language. It is my most proficient language. But actually, I would love to be able to learn my language in that way and learn about its history and its roots. Because we say Somali language is 50 years old, but the reality is it was when it was decreed written by the government 50 years ago. But actually, Somali language dates back to I think something. There was a data around it dating back to 10,000 BC. So it's a very old language in itself, and it has Cushitic roots. But in the way it's written has changed over the years, and so it's really exciting. It's really cool to learn about and be with these young people and and also the elders, being with parents here, which is really cool. So yeah, it's a nice space to be able to learn from each other and celebrate our history and have a good time.
Today I think has been an amazing opportunity, not only for Graham Park, but also for Barnet, and just celebrating the diversity of the borough of Barnet. I think the Somali community is one that is quite small in comparison to the diversity of Barnet. And I think their representation today through Centre of Excellence in Graham Park, I think has been a fantastic success for us, because it also opens up an opportunity for us to be insightful, understanding, but also respectful of other cultures, traditions, and backgrounds. We at Notting Hill Genesis are also the regeneration scheme stakeholders or partners of Graham Park. We designed a framework called the Neighbourhood Change. It's got 4 objectives, and it is underpinned by our delivery of the Make It Happen offer. Please, if you want to learn more, about what we're trying to do in Graham Park around social value, supporting and engaging with our community to empower them, but also to make sure that we can align with some of our offer to their ambitions. Please come and see me.
You know, we want our children to be bright, we want them to have a good future, but it starts with respect, and it really does start with having more parents being involved in the education system. As we said earlier, whether you come in and you work in the canteen, whether you come in as a teaching assistant, come in and help the children to read, the more of your presence that they see will actually motivate them to try harder.
My name is Sophia Saeed. I am a counsellor at Burngreave Ward in Sheffield. I've come today to join Centre of Excellence event today for Black History Month. It's been absolutely fantastic, and thank you for the invitation. So I've only been a counsellor for a year, but I continue to be a community person. I've set up my own organisation 2013 as Reach Up Youth Charity, and it's mainly for the BAME young people from 11 to 25. Who is looking for some sort of a guidance, whether it's academic or social guidance. We use sports as a hook to bring them into the organisations and activities, and then after that we sort of put them through learning mentors or social mentors or a body system, and we sort of dress them in different t-shirts to give them different level of their age, which is blue, is only secondary, college is red, anything above that it's black. We have ambassadors and leaders and champions, and then if you participate long enough you can be voted into champion, and then after that be selected as a leader, but you have to put your hours in, and that kind of commitment young people seem to like it. There is a hard-working, but at the same time you will be in a better platform, you will be recognized, and we will help you to bridge between the schools and your teachers who doesn't even know that we've got stars in the communities. So we sort of highlight and tag everybody in to say young people can do it for themselves, and they can voice their own problems and to get to a solution. But without any mentoring or leadership, they can't really move forward.
There are different layers of integration within the Somali community. So the younger people we work with, for example, their first language oftentimes is English, whereas their parents might speak Somali. So I think they have a different relationship to the state, to the school system, and also to education and employment. However, having said all of that, the young people also face a number of issues. For example, there's a massive issue around unemployment, also more worryingly, around underemployment. We've got young people who have master level education and who are working, minimum wage jobs in retail and many other industries, and this is a big issue, and I think it comes down to a number of issues, not least discrimination, racism, but also a lack of network and the opportunity to work well together. I think
Black History Month is important for all of us, is important for those who don't know to know, because the whole theme of this year is you have to know the past to shape the future. You have to know the past to shape the future.
Once you validate and you say, I see you, that is the number one respect. I see you. I had one of my daughters, I said, why are you so naughty? And she said, bad attention, good attention is still attention. And that made me think. So from now on, I was always listening. I wasn't giving them a solution, but I was trying to give them an alternative. Better than a solution. Because when you give somebody a fish, they will always need the fish. But when you teach them how to fish, then they will always provide for themselves.